Welcome everybody as you're jumping in. It's good to see you all. Let's see. Let me go ahead and change my name really fast because I'm not Sarah Brewer. I'm Hunter, one of the coaches here at the Center for Overcoming. I'm so excited for today's webinar. It's gonna be an absolutely incredible conversation. Let's see. Sorry, I can't multitask. Let me change my name first. Here we go. All right, welcome everybody as you're jumping in. Just a little thing, if you guys are new to the webinar, down at the bottom it says Q&A. Okay, that little you click Q&A, that's where you're gonna be able to uh, send me messages, and whenever I refer to the chat, I mean Q&A. Okay, so you can send anything to that Q&A, and I'll get it on my end. I'll read it out loud, and we'll have a fantastic time. Okay. Awesome. Welcome in as you're jumping in. Welcome. Okay, so I always like to start with a question that doesn't really refer to pornography because I think it's fun to get to know each other. Okay, because you're gonna see people's names on the community, and as you share, it's fantastic, right? But being able to be in a setting where you can, um, you know, get to know other people, kind of in a way have some sort of, a stronger connection than just, over community. This is the place to do it, right? Um, so this question for today is what is your, oh, shoot. I just barely had did I ask this question last week already? Whatever. I want to hear your guys' what is one thing that you guys have lived by? Okay, like a phrase or a quote or some sort of advice that you've heard or grown ups hearing. What is something that you have lived by um, for in your life? Okay. As you guys are thinking about that, please throw it in the chat. Okay, throw in what's a phrase or a sentence or a comment or a quote that you live by. Mine is something that my dad actually shared with me a lot. Was, hey, if you're doing something, like, do it 100%. Okay. I think that one it always has stood out to me because if I'm here, right, like if I'm on this webinar, right, I might as well just put in my whole effort, right? Like what would be the point of me to just like you know do like 50%, right? Like that's not great, right? Or you guys being here in the community, right? It's like you guys are here, right? Let's put in 100%. I promise you're gonna get more out of it, right? And that goes with anything. My dad usually taught me that with like baseball, because when I grew up playing baseball, and so he was always like, hey, like if you're already at baseball, right, you don't have a date doing, you're not doing anything, right? So just put 100% effort in here. Here's a few in the chat. Never give up. Love it. Love it. Short, sweet, straight to the point, powerful. I love it. Greg Spofford said, treat others as I wish to be treated. Oh, I love that one. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And then Tom said, you live what you believe. No matter what you say, your life shows what you really believe. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. It's kind of goes to show that, like, actions speak louder than words, right? Like what you do, it shows a lot, right? Awesome. Anybody else want to go ahead and throw in what you live by? Not 100%, but like something that, to you is really, really powerful. It's kind of stuck with you. If not, we can go ahead and get started for today. Welcome as you guys are coming in, by the way. Welcome. I'm Hunter. Okay, perfect. Also, by the way, I got a haircut. So fun, right? All right. Never force anything. Oh, I love that. Right? Like have it, like have it come naturally in a way, right? For me, another one said, for me, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, then I don't care. Honestly, that's pretty valid. Yeah. Every day is a school day. Yeah, you're always learning, right? Always learning something. Good stuff. Awesome. Okay. Uh, so for today, I first off, now that you guys know where the chat is and you know how to use it, right? You kind of proved it to me, just barely, right? But I want this webinar to be pretty. I want you guys to share, okay? Because I haven't done this yet as a webinar, and I think it's important for me to do this, okay? Um, I posted in the community a couple times about, hey, I want you to share your wins. Share your wins with us, right? We want to hear them, okay? But I want to do this in person, okay? I think it'd be so cool, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something called a spotlight, all right? And what this spotlight is, let's say Mark, for example, right? You have a win that you want to share with us, okay? What we're gonna do is we'll put you on spotlight, so then I'll see, you right here and me right here, right? And then I want you to share your win. I want you to share your win with me, with everybody else in the program or in the community on the webinar, right? And I think it's gonna be really cool. Okay, but the only way this is gonna work is I want you guys to be willing to share. All right. I think it could be really beneficial. All right, are you guys cool with that? Give me some thumbs up, some sort of something that sounds good. All right, perfect, awesome, awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is in the Q&A, I want you to kind of just type like, oh yeah, I'd be open to sharing. Okay, I'd be open to sharing a win. I want to share something. Okay, so go ahead and throw in the chat if you're willing to do so. And then what we're gonna do is we'll start at the top and we'll just kind of boom, 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 boom. And obviously, as we're sharing the win, I might have some questions. I want to hear how you got there, what helped you, all that good stuff. Okay, but go ahead and throw in the chat if you guys are willing to share. Okay, if you're not, that's okay. Um, I have something else in mind if nobody's wanting to share, right? But there's a few people on here tonight, and I think gotta at least get one or two, right? And you can think about what a win was for you as well. Anybody in the chat thinking? Sound like okay, Greg said I'm open to sharing, but I prefer to do it after a couple other people. Okay, no, that's totally valid. And also I always have wins as well. Just because I'm a coach doesn't mean I don't have don't doesn't mean I don't process things either, right? Um, okay, perfect. Tom, you said you're willing. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put you on spotlight. Okay, if that's cool. We can have a fantastic conversation. Aiden said I'm willing to share too, but want to hear from people first. Okay, awesome. So let's go, Tom, and then if anybody else wants to go right after Tom, we can. If not, we'll go Aiden and then Greg. Okay, but if we can get more people in here, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. Let me go ahead and put a spotlight on Tom here really quick. All right. Okay. Awesome. Let me throw this over here. All right, Tom, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Good.
Good. Oh, I'm glad we're doing this. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts and what wins you've had and how you got there. So as we go about this, like I said, I might ask a few follow-up questions because I think it's cool to kind of pick your brain. So
Mhm.
if that's cool with you, are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
Perfect. So Tom, go ahead and share with us. What was a win that you had that you want to share with us?
Yeah, looking at porn like late night or waking up in the middle of the night and just getting an urge, and I don't have that urge anymore. I mean, there are times I do wake up, but the last thing on my mind is porn, and
That's
which is really huge for me because that was a real time of acting out, and it just doesn't happen anymore.
Tom, that is absolutely incredible. That is a
Yeah,
huge feat.
it
Tom,
is.
how did you get there? I'm gonna kind of interview you in a way, right? Like, how did you get there? What got you to that place where hey, this urge doesn't really come up. If it does, I can process it. What kind of got you to that point?
I think when Sarah talked about urges and leaning into them, I called it making friends with my urges,
Yeah, I love that.
and just accepting it, breathing slowly, saying, "Okay, urge, you're here," and then go deeper. Like, what am I feeling? And a lot of times I'd be driven towards rejection or loneliness, um, rather than trying to work up willpower, which it has been so freeing knowing that I don't have to overcome porn by willpower because I never could.
Yeah, Tom, I love that. And even the very end, you touched on the idea that you don't have like overcoming pornography does not mean willpower. Like those two things, like if anything, that's not going to get you there, right?
That's right.
And
Yep.
recognizing that, Tom, I think you've made incredible leaps and bounds with where you've started and where you are now, right? Like that is a huge win. Well done, Tom. Is there anything else you want to share with us about about that win, how you got there? What were you feeling afterwards? Like after you've recognized, like, oh wow, like I've processed this correctly and I know how to do this. Like what feelings did you have about that?
What's weird is I really hadn't thought deeply about it until you asked the question tonight. And I'm going, wow, I really used to have a problem with late night porn watching.
Yeah.
and I just don't anymore. And I think the balance to it is I'm still learning. There's still areas that I'm working
Of
on,
course, yeah.
but there's energy there to say, you know what, I can overcome this completely.
Yeah. And Tom, how do you feel right now then? Like if you've recognized like, wow, this isn't something that's as scary or as uh, you know, as what's the word I'm looking for? As like
I don't feel like I'm
pronounced
hiding
in my
under a
life,
big
right?
rock
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, I feel light. I feel I feel just a lot of positive just encouragement
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love
towards
it.
this journey, that it's a journey that is not like filled with defeat, just constant barrage of getting hit with stones or burying myself under a rock.
Yeah.
There's actually hope. I would say that's the biggest thing.
I love that, Tom. I love it. I love that to recognize as well. This goes for everybody. But this idea that, you know, overcoming pornography, obviously it's going to be hard, right? It's not going to be butterflies and rainbows the whole
Right.
time, right?
Right.
But, recognizing that when you do make those wins, and that's why I love to celebrate these wins and have you guys share these wins with each other. Because, I mean, Tom, this is a fantastic example of you recognizing, like, hey, I really didn't even think about it until I realized, like, wow, this is actually a big win. It's a big step for me, right? And
That's
that
right.
really pushes you in a direction where, you get that confidence and that motivation, like, keep working hard, right? And I love that for you, Tom. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Anything else you want to share? Are you feeling all right?
No, that's it, Hunter. Thanks so much for
Awesome.
the
Of
opportunity.
course. Of course. Tom, thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me go ahead and I think I do this. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Okay, Aiden, are you willing to share? Is there anybody else that wants to go before, wants to go next? If not, that's okay. Aiden, are you cool to start or to share with us? Does that kind of give you like a decent idea of what to expect? Right? It's just all about celebration here. Nothing scary. Sure thing. All right, let me put you up here. All right. Aiden, how are you, man?
Hello.
Hey, I can hear you. I think.
Okay. I'm doing okay.
Okay. Awesome. Aiden, can you share with us a little bit what win do you want to share with us today?
I think probably the fact that I've been struggling with this whole problem for a few years, and this is the year that I made a lot of progress. So I feel like that is my biggest win so far.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, like why not make 2025 the year, right? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like why not, right? Like and we're all here for you, Aiden. So I love that. Aiden, what progress have you recognized? Like when you I mean you kind of said like, oh, this year I feel like I'm making a lot more progress than usual, right? Like what progress does that look like?
Uh, so for the first few years when I started out, I didn't have a direction. It's just like, okay, I need to beat this problem because I want to live my life. I
Mm,
want to be okay again. So I just kind of like dive my head first into it without thinking about it. And it's yeah, it didn't go anywhere,
mm,
honestly. But this year, I feel like no, not this year, but like maybe around the end of last year, uh, I was like, I cannot live this way anymore.
mm.
But what's wrong? And then I took some time to really think about it, and I realized that I didn't really have a plan to tackle this problem.
Yeah.
So I just sat down with myself, and then I created a plan. So I wrote like journals about my urges, and then I read back. I was able to read back like maybe a month ago, and I realized there was some really harmful uh, patterns that I can see for myself.
Mm,
That and I could also see that I tends to relapse on some specific emotions. Uh, and yeah, and so for that, so this year I was never I back in the day, like I used to watch porn like almost every day. But then it's gradually like lessened over the year. And this year I made it like around like 8 days without porn. Yeah, and then I relapsed again, and then I made it to 9 days. But then after that, it's just kind of like day. It's kind of like on and off for me. But I'm still on like right now. I'm still on another attempt. But it's not a something that I thought to myself that it's not always about the streak or like the all the perfect streak that I have.
Yeah.
It's more like the percentage and how much effort I put into it, because I was able to have a plan, have a schedule, a schedule that I follow every day, a set of habits or hobbies that I do, and I'm still trying to figure out more patterns that uh I can see from journaling every day, and then
Mhm.
think of a way to maybe like prevent that or like change that. Yeah, so I think that that's
Yeah.
probably all that.
No, I love that. Aiden, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, thank you. Something I do want to touch on really quick is, it's important not to count days, right? And obviously, naturally, our brains, we're human, right? So our brains are gonna say like, "Oh man, you've gone 7 days without porn," right? But what I mean by not counting days is to say, okay, you know what? Even if you slip up, that does not mean you go back to day one. Okay. Because if you do that, I mean, it can sometimes be so hard, right? Like, Aiden, imagine if you get to like, day 100, right? Which I know one day you'll get there. I know it, right? Um, but if you're there and then all of a sudden you slip up, right? You say, oh, I'm back to day one. Like, oh man, that's got to be so hard, right? But what if instead you could say, hey, you know what? Instead of counting days, I slipped up. Let's learn from that, right? Like, what happened there, and let's gather some data around what happened, apply it, reset, and move on, right? Instead of saying like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go back to square one, right? It's like, hey, you know what, like, man, maybe I slipped up in one day, but look at all the other progress I've made, right? So it's not like it all goes away, right, Aiden?
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah,
I love that,
yeah. It's
Aiden.
make a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. And Aiden, thank you so much for sharing with us, the success that you have found here thus far. And, I encourage you to, you can even reflect back on, past slip ups and say, hey, you know what? Let's kind of learn what happened, right? Let's see what happened. Let's gather some data around it. Let's start to recognize some patterns, right? And once you start to get those patterns pretty consistent, right? Or like recognizing those patterns, when it comes up again, you say, "Oh, wait, pause. I remember last time this happened. I slipped up, right? So let's see if I can, process this better, right?" So, Aiden, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah, not actually something I want to share,
Yeah,
but
please.
a word of encouragement for everybody's here. All I want to say is it's possible, and even though in the time you might feel like you might feel hopeless, you might feel like there's nothing you try works.
Mm,
Just know that all of us has been through the exact thing, and some of us has already made it to the other side, and we are waiting for you, and we are rooting for you.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Aiden, thank you so much. Fantastic words of encouragement right there. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm here for you too, right? Like I want nothing but the best for you guys. And I understand to an extent, right? I'm not gonna say I fully understand what you're going through, okay? Because everybody's unique. But I understand to an extent that if you reach out to me and you're like, hey man, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? It's like, yes, 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 yes. I will help you. I will help you the very best I can. Okay. Awesome. Aiden, thank you so much for you being here,
Thank
for your
you. Thank
words.
you
I
so much.
appreciate you. Thanks for being here, man. All right, I'm gonna take you out, okay?
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, awesome. Oh man, season is so good. I think it's so like wholesome and so refreshing to hear other people's wins because it can give you a really good insight of okay, this is possible. I can do this. I can overcome this, right? And it also goes to show, the what's possible interviews that you guys, I hope you guys have listened to a few of them on the podcast, right? That can give you so much inspiration on where to go and recognize, hey, I can do this. Okay. Anybody else want to share anything before we jump to Greg? Okay, feeling good. Awesome, awesome. Greg, are you open to get started? Chat for a minute? Maybe. I don't know. Greg, are you open to chat for a minute or no? If not, that's okay. Okay. If you respond, if you say something in the chat, cool, we can get started. If not, I'm going to share something. Okay. Oh, perfect. Okay. Awesome, Greg. I'll throw you on here. Okay. Let's see. All right. Perfect. Greg, how are you?
And sorry it took a minute here because I wasn't sure that you had the host had to let me talk. I was talking, but
Oh, yeah.
it,
Sorry. Yeah, I had to. Yeah, I
right,
had to kind of let you.
I could have
Mhm.
figured that out.
No
Uh,
worries. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. I really am. Greg, go ahead and share with us. What's a win that you have on your mind that you want to share with us?
this is pretty exciting because I'm a little bit older, and I think since I was a kid, um, I've kind of carried around shame, and um, not that I'm there yet, never totally be there in terms of purging it or whatever. But that shame was that uh, kind of related to that I'm not a good person.
Mm,
And at times, if I fought with my brother and sister, it was more like I was a bad person. And then when it came to adolescent time, that I felt shame that I was a sexual person, and I know it sounds kind of weird, but when those things are indoctrinated for a long period of time, that just sinks in. So I'm going to thank you, Hunter, and of course, Sarah Brewer and her whole team for having this type of process, which is not shame based, not shame based. And, and the other things that seem to be kind of making some progress is that I think I used to kind of depend totally on willpower
mm,
or putting fear in that I'm, excuse the expression, but I'm damned to hell if I don't confess this sin, before things like that, before I die or whatever.
yeah.
So I would say that um, even even when I slip, which is decreasing, I won't put it in terms of days because I understand that. Although it's kind of like Aiden, I'll thank Aiden in terms of that. I think I was going in the wrong direction, and now I'm coming back into a healthier direction. And even when I slip, it doesn't make me a bad person. So I'll stop with that and see if you got any questions.
Yeah, Greg, first off, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm curious. I want you to share some emotions or some feelings that are coming up around this. You recognizing that, it's a lot deeper than, trying to use shame and fear and willpower to overcome pornography, right? And noticing that
Yes.
um you know as a as a young kid, right, you're kind of conditioned a certain way, right,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's good or bad,
Yep.
but you kind of take that and you kind of grow up with it, right? So
Yeah.
whatever you were conditioned as a child, right, you kind of take that and grow into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's sometimes really tricky to recognize, like, okay, like this is a belief that I have, right? Let's see if that's actually helping me. Okay. But Greg, it seems as though you're on this path where, you're starting to challenge those beliefs and starting to recognize that shame isn't going to get you there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, what emotions or what feelings come up for you when you think to yourself, like, wow, I'm making progress and, I'm learning a lot here. What comes to mind?
Well, tonight you can probably hear in my voice that enthusiasm, that encouragement. Um, Now the trick is, I'm also recognizing tricky times. And it can be as simple as being tired, especially tired, and I just want to feel better.
Mm.
Or something else is not going very well. Now, I'm fortunate to have an incredible, loving wife that's very supportive of me in all ways. I'm also fortunate to have a number of skills, and I'll say that God gave me, you know. And so there's a lot of good things happening. But I really want to kind of continue to grow spiritually, emotionally, um, and accept that God made us sexual beings along with all of the other wonderful things. Uh, I just realized, Hunter, maybe I'm not even answering your question.
No, you're okay.
The
You're okay.
feelings. Well, I now have less fear. I told you how I'm not counting on willpower alone, but I tend to have a little less fear. And instead of just trying to have incredible avoidance behavior, I once heard somebody say, don't think about a yellow Volkswagen. Don't think about a yellow Volkswagen, and that's all you can think about.
It just popped in my head, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And if you really try hard not to think, you're going to think about that. And I think in the same way, whether it be pornography or something else, I'm learning for myself. And having been all the other areas in my life, for the most part, have been pretty much along the lines of growing older. But this one, I think I got kind of stagnated, stuck, if you will, in that adolescence time. And even the fact that I'm talking about it, more, I have to be careful. We don't want to talk to everybody about it. You want to have good people like yourself and your team and a few good men that might also be helpful. So the feelings are, for the most part, encouraging, that I'm not going the wrong way in terms of getting healthier, but going in a healthier way.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Greg. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. I love this idea that you shared of, it's, even though you feel like, there's still progress to be made, right? But you're recognizing that, you're taking those little steps, right? You're putting little stepping stones down and you're continuing to, become better every single day, right? And I love that for you. I love that. So I'm so excited for you. So thank you for sharing, Greg. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to share.
Of course, of course. Anything else that you want to say or share before I put you back
I'm
into?
gonna wish everybody a blessed Easter, and just to enjoy as much as possible the Easter season.
Awesome. Now I ditto that, Greg. I'm excited for this weekend. And fun fact, fun little fact. It's this our my wife and I, our anniversary is actually on Easter this year, so we're pretty excited about it. But
Oh,
anyway.
congratulations!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All
Wonderful.
right, Greg, I'm going to throw you back in the group, but thank you so much for sharing. You're absolutely incredible. And, thank you. Thank you. Let's see. All right. Perfect. This person said, yeah, much like Pavlov dog experiment, you condition yourself to something, you can condition yourself out of it. But you'll have to sit with your emotion and urges to get through it. I wish you the best, Craig. Yeah. And, yeah, the something that's so important is to recognize that, it's not gonna be easy, right? Like it's and the thing is I love to live by this idea that the hard, like the more difficult things to overcome or to go through, right? Any sort of trial that you have or struggle that you're going through, right? If it's easy, I mean, first off, you wouldn't really be going through it as hard because you're not working as hard because it's easy, right? But if it's difficult, right? If it's something difficult like overcoming pornography for good, right? It's that much sweeter when you overcome it, right? When you get to this place where you're like, oh man, I've learned so much. And it's extending beyond, overcoming pornography. I mean, it's so sweet and it's so special. So, you know, we always talk about the river of misery, right? And how, if you're standing on one side, right, it's like, oh, it's kind of scary to like get into the river, right? But once you get into it, once you get in like the middle, it's going to get a little tricky, and maybe the water's a little hard to, navigate, right? But as you continue to work forward and you continue to work through the other side, it's going to get easier and easier until you're out of it, right? Greg said, "Thank you, Hunter." Yeah, of course, of course. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you for your thoughts. Question: what's a good way to practice processing urges outside of porn? Oh, I love the question. I love it. Okay. What's a good way to practice processing urges outside of porn? So, my biggest thing, and I love to use this example, okay? Being on your phone. Okay? I love this example, right? I would guess that most people have some sort of social media where you can scroll. Okay. If you don't, bear with me. I'll touch on another example here. But scrolling is such a good example here. Okay. Not revolving around pornography, just like trying to kill time. Right. And the biggest advice that I can give is asking this question of what's your intention behind scrolling, or what's your intention behind really anything, right? Anything that you're trying to, or anything that you're doing, right? Ask yourself, what's your intention? Okay, if your intention's good, right? Or if it's like, hey, you know what? I just want to kill 10 minutes. Like, great. Now you know your intention. So now when you're trying to process this emotion of boredom, right? Now you have an intention of say, hey, I'm going to kill 10 minutes of time, and here it is, right? Because a lot of times if we don't have a lot of intention behind our actions regarding pornography or not, you kind of start to get swallowed up in this idea of like, I don't know, I don't really have an intention. I'm just kind of going about this thing, right? So to go back to this question of what's a good way to practice processing those urges, have intention behind it. I promise you it's going to go a long way. Okay. And say, hey, no, ask yourself the question, like, what's this going to get me? Okay. It works. I promise. Okay. Nick said, question, what to do after a relapse? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, let me get to that in 1 second. So Nick, question, he said, what do you do after a relapse? Okay, after a slip up. I like to break this down as simple as possible. I don't want to make it some like crazy, like this is what you have to do and you have to follow it like this or it's not going to work. Okay, but the first thing is to recognize you. So like obviously like, hey, I slipped up. Okay, like get yourself into this mindset of, okay, like understanding and giving yourself love even after a slip up. Okay, so give yourself love after a slip up. After you give yourself that love of like, hey, like I can do this, I can learn from this. Okay, then you're going to gather data. Okay, you're going to gather data behind the slip up, and there's a lot of questions that you can ask yourself. Okay, okay, what was I feeling? What was my circumstance to drive me to this, to where I slipped up? Okay, asking yourself those questions, gathering data behind it. Okay, trying to recognize patterns. All right, after you recognize those patterns, write them down. Write them down. Okay, I promise you it'll help. Okay, writing down what's going on in your brain, it's so much easier. So next time you have a slip up, you can say, hey, you know what? I wrote down, this is a pattern that I recognized. Okay. Or I wrote down how I was feeling last time. All right. After you write it down and after you've gathered data, now it's time to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to move on. Okay. I'm not going to sit and mope around in this slip up. Okay. Because the thing is that's where shame starts to creep in. Is the second you say, oh my gosh, you know what? I just ruined my day. I'm just going to sit on the couch the rest of the day and do nothing because, I already ruined my day. I'll just try again tomorrow. Right? Right when you say that to yourself, shame's going to go, oh, I'm going to jump right in right here. And you know what? You're not going to be productive. You're going to be sad and you're going to be frustrated at yourself all day. Right? But if we can say, hey, you know what? I've gathered data. I love myself. It happened. But you know what? I'm going to have a thought of, hey, I can learn and move on and I can do this in a healthy way. It's going to turn into guilt, which is more of a pushing of saying, hey, you know what? This didn't align with you very well. And that's okay. You're still a good person. Let's go on. Let's be productive for the rest of the day. Right? That's the biggest thing I can give you. Right? So to break it down, love yourself. Okay. Give yourself some love. Okay. Because a lot of times we're too hard on ourselves. Break down what happened, gather data behind it, write it down. Okay. Write it down and then move on. Okay. Here's your 4 things. Okay. Move on. All right. Nick, does that kind of make sense? And there's a lot of podcast episodes out there about it too. I literally think there's a podcast episode called Learn and Move On. I can look this up here, I'll look it up really fast and see if I'm right. Because maybe I'm wrong. Give me 10 seconds. Pretty sure it's like one of the first ones. Podcast number would be great. Yeah. I'll get you there. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. I think it's like one of the very first ones, actually. Oh, I found it. 155. Okay. Episode 155. Let me respond it in here. Episode 155 in the podcasts. Okay. That was really fast. I don't know how I found that so fast. Let's see. I think there's another one too, so I'm trying to find that one as well. Come on. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. I want to help you guys. But I also don't want to push you in the wrong direction. Sorry. I'm almost there. Okay, and then episode 17. Episode 17. That's the second one. Okay, I'm just gonna respond to this one here. Episode 17. I knew there was another one. Okay, to find if you can't or if you're looking for my text, I just sent it in the question and answer, the Q&A. If you open it up and you click like answered, it'll give you like my responses. Episode 17 and episode 155. Oh, okay. Sorry. The way you asked your question. Sorry. Okay, so he said, you sort of answered my question, but I really was asking how I can practice processing urges so that when an urge does come up, I'm more confident. Okay. Yes, I think that's a little bit different of a question, but that's okay. I am more than happy to answer it. So, when processing urges, okay, my bad for the confusion. No, you're good. You're totally good. I'm happy to help you out the best I can here, man. So, you sort of question, but I really was asking how I can practice processing urges so that when the urge to watch porn comes up, I'm more confident. Okay, so this leads back to online work and offline work. Okay, and this is something you learn in the program a lot. So I'll try to explain it the best I can. Yeah, I'll do my very best. Okay, but it's kind of tough to push you. I can't really like say, hey, check out this video and this webinar and this podcast. Okay, but so the best thing to do is online work, offline work. What that is, online work, and I've touched on it a little bit, I think. Online work is when your emotions are regulated. Probably right now, right? Like I feel like I'm pretty regulated. So people here in the chat and on the webinar is probably pretty emotionally regulated, right? You're here, you can kind of feel where you are. You're in your environment. You're doing your thing, right? That's when you when you're online. That's 95% of the time, right? Online or offline is when you're not regulated, right? Emotionally kind of out of it. Maybe you're a little bit anxious or you have this urge, whether it's to view pornography or to an urge in other aspects. But when you're offline, it's really hard to process an urge. It's really hard to do that if you don't have the right tools and if you don't practice. Okay, the best example that I like to give is if I'm trying to, well, let's pretend I'm a basketball coach, okay? And my team has never practiced a certain play, okay? And we're in a game and I call that play. If I say, whatever, call play, right? My team is probably not going to be able to execute it very well. Okay, I'm standing on the sideline trying to like yell at them, trying to like get them in, to run this play. But if they've never practiced it, it's going to be really, really hard to execute, right? The same thing goes to when you're offline and you've never practiced a certain way to process an urge, okay? If you've heard about, how to process urges, or if you're still like, oh man, I don't really know how to process an urge, and then all of a sudden you try to do it when you're offline, it's going to be really hard, right? So my best advice for you is when you're online, Okay, that's where you're going to learn how to process an urge, right? Walk yourself through it. And the way you do that is say, hey, you know what? Urge pops up. Hey, what do you have to tell me? Urges are very wise. Urges are very wise. So pull this urge up and say, hey, what do you have to tell me here? What am I feeling right now? What is my environment like? Really get yourself in this place where you recognize every single thing about the reason why this urge is coming up. Okay. And it's all about asking questions. And the more you learn, the more you do this, the more comfortable it's going to get, right? But if you practice doing this online, right? Just like if I practiced a certain basketball play in practice, right? It's going to make it that much easier to say, hey, you know what? I have an urge, or hey, we're in a game, calls the play, and now you know how to do it, right? Because your brain is like, oh my gosh, I remember how to do that. I've done it before. I practiced it all the time. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? So the best thing is, to ask it questions. Okay. What are you doing here? Like, what are you trying to tell me right now? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing right now? And that's how you're going to be able to process an urge, right? So then when you get offline, you ask yourself those same questions, and it makes it a lot easier because your brain's used to doing it. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? Whoever shared that question? Perfect. Perfect. That's the best way to go about it. Recognize online work, offline work. If you can practice online, it makes it easier offline. If you don't practice online and you try to do it offline, it's not going to work very well, right? So that's the best way to simplify it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. By the way, can someone just share with me really quick if you guys go to the Q&A and click, like, can you guys see my two responses that I made, right? Can you see episode 17 and episode 155 in the chat? Can you guys see that? Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. Good. Thanks, Aiden. All right, perfect. So does anybody have any questions before we, close for today? Because there's one thing I do want to touch on before we close. But if there's any questions, I want to fill those out first. Okay. All right. So this last thing here, I touch on this every week, but Jeremy's an awesome guy to chat with if you are looking for some guidance. Okay, if you're looking for some guidance and you're looking on a place to talk with somebody one on one, who is full of love and wants nothing but the best for you, like Jeremy's the way to go. It's a free call. Okay, it's a free call, so I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. It's free. I just sent the link into the Q&A. Okay, it's that big long link. Okay, so please check that out. Click a link, book it with Jeremy, because I promise you it's gonna help so much. Put yourself in this really beneficial direction. Okay, everybody that shared tonight, go ahead and click the link if you haven't already had a booked a call with Jeremy. But I promise you it's gonna get you a really solid direction on where to go in the program, where to, what to go, what to do next, what podcasts to listen to based on what you're going through. I promise you, it's a great place to be. Okay, so go ahead and click that link, make a booking. It's so easy. He'll walk you right through it, and I know he'll be so excited to chat with you. Okay, awesome. Anybody have any questions before we jump off today? Feeling pretty good. Feeling solid. Thumbs up for everyone. Perfect. Awesome, awesome. Another thing, stay active in the community, okay? Sharing your wins and sharing your successes with other people, it helps you grow and it helps other people. It inspires other people as well, okay? If you have questions, share them, okay? If you have something to share, if you have a story that you want to share, please share it in the community, because you sharing some things about your story will help you become a better person as well, okay? And it will touch other people, right? So keep that in mind as well. Stay active in the community. Have a fantastic Wednesday evening and a great week. Happy Easter, everybody. See you later.